Alright. Okay, Elle Ingalls here. I think we're coming up live here on Facebook as well as on my webinar channel. So I'm on my webinar channel tonight and also broadcasting this live through Facebook. This is going to be a live webinar. We're starting right at 8 o'clock, so just coming on a little early to make sure that everything is working okay. So focus tonight for everybody, if you haven't seen my post yet today, the focus tonight is really about the effect, what adrenaline does to the body and the immune system particularly. So we're going to really focus on the immune system tonight. And I was really thinking the last few days how we've become such an adrenalized society. We've been running on adrenaline. And to be honest, I used to follow a couple of coaches that when I look back now and watch them, they were fueled by adrenaline, and I was picking up on that. And it's kind of damaging. So I'm going to share tonight some very cool things with you about adrenaline, about your immune system to really help you right away. By the end of this webinar, you're really going to have some great takeaways to help you right away during this time that is just so unique. And when you think about the kind of stress-based society we've created, and then we go into something like this, especially if you have any sort of anxiety disorder, autoimmune disease, any chronic disease going down, that you're currently dealing with. Also, if you are have any anxiety or depression, anything like that, that really, or OCD, these are things that will really put you in a state where now with what's going on can really pop you. So I see Janine is saying hi. Thanks so much for being here with me tonight. So yeah, I can't see you while I'm live on my webinar Zoom. So but maybe I can. Maybe I'll get tricky tonight. Always learning new tricks. To be my age and to dive into tech the way I have has been something else. I try not to let it cause me any anxiety. So I can't see if any comments come up. So yeah, I'll be focusing on my Zoom. But if you want to drop me a question while we're going along through this, if you want to take notes, feel free to get a pen and some paper to take notes on this session. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments here, or if you want to send it to me privately, just send me a private message. I'd be happy to help you out. And I hope you'll stay all the way to the end of this webinar. It's going to be about 40 minutes or so. It's going to be power packed and really give you some great suggestions again that you can use right away to help you, and not just help you, but help your friends, family, anyone you're in contact with. Maybe you're doing a lot of calls online with people. You can share some of these tips that I'm going to share tonight with them, because even people who feel pretty calm, I've had people messaging me asking for help because normally they're just rock solid, but this has really rocked them. So you'll find that some people who have a lot of trouble are getting rocked by this, or who normally don't have a lot of trouble are getting rocked by this because their particular industry is being affected. So economic difficulty. It's really strange to be a speaker and have all of your events canceled in about a week's time. That's a little scary. I'm in that situation. So we're almost to the top of the hour here. And I see Karen just shared this out. Very nice. Please share. This is going to be impactful again for pretty much anyone. Even your teenagers can come on and watch this and learn things that will change their life. Middle schoolers too. I won't be doing any kind of content that a middle schooler or high schooler can't take right in and use right away. So let's see, let me share a couple things here. I am going to be recording this tonight, so I'm going to get my recording going and we will pop in. So let's see more. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Elle Ingalls, and thanks so much for coming on this training with me tonight. This is, I want to take you back for a moment. I want to go back to the first time I really heard that word stress, immune system, autoimmune. I was 13 years old, and I had a violin competition. And during the time that I was preparing for that competition, my hands got covered with something very strange and I didn't know what it was. They were very dry and cracked and bleeding, and it wasn't winter. So I was really confused. And my mother took me to the doctor, and they took one look at my hands and said, "Oh, you have eczema." And that was a word I'd never heard. And it kind of scared me, to be honest. And they said, "Well, here, they gave me a prescription cream." Well, that prescription cream did nothing. In fact, probably 20 different kinds of creams that I've used, including Bag Balm, which is what they use on car waters. None of those creams helped my poor hands. This knuckle was cracked and bleeding for 30. Were so nasty that when I would be teaching violin, that's my bow hand. My bow hand was worse, thank goodness, because I actually had a friend who had eczema on his fingertips, and he had to go from being a violist to a conductor. So it was so bad that the children I would be teaching, they were worried about me. They were worried I had some really nasty, even contagious disease, but it was eczema. So if you know eczema, it's very painful, especially on your hands. You're underwater. Talk about having to wash my hands. I was constantly washing my hands as a violinist, and it would hurt so much. I was in a lot of pain too. So fast forward, and in 2010, I was creating a business for myself to run, and I put a mentor in my life who said I shouldn't be doing that particular business. Just stay open, but there's something else for me. Well, just 2 nights later, my own sons asked me to coach their baseball team, their high school baseball team, in my mental toughness tips. So what was really weird is like, I've been performing my whole life on a stage, and I don't get very anxious and I don't get very angry, but I get annoyed a lot of things. And my constant annoyances were what were causing me to release adrenaline and causing this nasty eczema on me. So anyway, I started packaging my mental toughness tips for this baseball team, and concurrently created this thing called the pressure-free method and started using it on myself. And within 6 to 8 weeks, I started noticing amazing changes. Like my skin, I would get like stress acne. If you've ever had adult acne, like stress acne on my cheeks, was terrible. It was really terrible. I had this eczema, I had stress fat. I also had dense fibrous breast tissue. In six to 8 week period is when I started to notice the changes. My eczema completely disappeared. I didn't get stress acne anymore. My breast tissue completely changed, and this stress fat in the upper torso just started to leave my body. And so I noticed all these changes happening to me. And then as I started coaching other people, they started having all these, and I thought I was a mental toughness coach, but all these health benefits started to come out. And incredible things happened with my clients. And so that's kind of how Pressure Free All got started. It was out of, and I had no idea that I would heal my hands. I cried when it happened. I was like, I couldn't believe that I was finally healed of a disease I had had since I was 13. And at that time I was 48, so 47, 48. So that was so cool for me. So that's just a little bit about, diving in here for you to show you. So I'm going to pop up some slides. Now I've got slides for tonight, and we'll get going right into this training for you. So this is how to stop adrenaline from affecting your immune system, whether you're fairly calm, like I thought I was, or afraid during this time, or a hot mess of stress, which I've been too. So this is a free online webinar that I'm providing for you tonight. And I am Elle Ingalls. I'm a high performance coach, and I created this thing called the Pressure Free Method. So let's see. This is for you if you're feeling anxious, especially right now in this time. Your income has been affected. You have a chronic disease. You're secretly an adrenaline junkie. Hello, my name is Elle, and I'm a recovering adrenaline junkie. I didn't realize I was addicted to adrenaline, but I truly was. I was addicted to that go, go, go kind of feeling. I thought that you had your stressful day and then you got home and you chilled out. That's not really how stress works. That's not how adrenaline works. So I'm going to share some real cool secrets with you tonight. It's going to be a 3-part training, and you'll discover in part 1, 5 signs of too much adrenaline. so that you can assess yourself if you've got too much adrenaline going on. I'm just going to do 5 signs. There are a lot of them, but 5 key ones. Then part 2 is going to be 3 ways stress affects your immunity. And part 3 is going to be simple steps, there should be steps in there, to boost your immunity. So simple steps to boost your immunity. First, if you know my trainings, I love to get you unpinched. That means get you comfortable. So if you have something tight on your wrists, around here, around your waist, around your neck, and your shoes, go ahead and take it off. Just release. Unpinch yourself so that you're in a real great state to super, super learn. So we really want you to really enjoy learning this tonight. And then we're going to unlock ourselves a little bit. And I have to thank I have a brand new client this week who's working with me privately and also is in my Pressure for You. And she she started on my Pressure for You course. And a couple of weeks in, she goes, I want to work with you privately, which is super cool. And she told me about this door. So I have this picture of this door here. And if you can see, there's like 1, 2, 3 bolts on the side here. And then there's also a bolt on the top and a bolt on the bottom. She said there were 6 total, so there must be one down low too. So all of these bolts and one key turned them all. This was a place that she lived in when she lived in Europe with her parents, and they had to get the door replaced or the lock fixed because one day they tried to turn this huge key into it and it didn't work. So to start tonight, I want you to unlock yourself so you're super open and prepared to learn. You can really take in information. And you can use this little thing I'm going to share with you to unlock yourself in any situation. This is a scary time. If you need to kind of get out of your comfort zone, use these little tips here to start unlocking yourself. So this is just kind of a little secret thing I'm giving you right up front here that you can use. So first is this area around your heart. When we're scared, we tighten and we close off. We tighten our abs. We close up here. We close this heart space. And, if you're having to get out of your comfort zone to do different kind of business, to get money coming in somehow, then your heart space, this area here, really needs to be open and welcoming. You need that know, like, trust factor to really be working for you. So the first step is to go really wide with your shoulders, relax your abs, and just kind of open up this whole area here in the middle of your body so that you're not tight in the front. Secondly, hamstrings. So I want you to grab your butt and pull it up a little bit so it's mounting up around your spine, and you're sitting on your hamstrings. So your butt is up here instead of slid down and you're kind of in a C curve. You might have to super adjust yourself if you're sitting on your sofa right now and you're going to get on your hamstrings so you can stand right up. Like, it's really easy to stand up. So sitting on your hamstrings is a much better position if you're trying to keep active, if you're trying to work. Also, if you're giving a presentation, it just opens you up so much more. Hips are next. So with your hips, I want you to feel like your hips are really in place and your ribs are lifting up away from your hips a little bit. So there's more space in your abdomen area. This is really going to be important when we go into one of the tips here tonight too. So your hips are really settled, and then your ribs are up higher. That's just going to bring you up and over your situation so you can really start to solve things. So your hips are strong. Head to the horizon. Again, when the head is up and looking out, I'm looking out at a beautiful sunset right now, up to the horizon, then your head, you're also able to have kind of a bird's eye view to solve things. Now, and we're on our phones so much and down here like this, that this curve right here is kind of getting affected. So bring your head to the horizon. And then your heels. So the head, that's the top bolt of this locked door here. Now we're going to unlock your feet. So the front part of your foot, have it be nice and really down onto the ground, and then lift your heels just a tiny bit, like a good stick, 2/4 underneath your heels. So now you're in this really active but not stressed position. In fact, now you don't have any stress on your back because you're sitting on your hamstrings instead of in that C curve that's going to put a lot of pressure on various vertebrae. So I hope that's helpful to unlock yourself. I use it all the time. I use this all the time, especially when I start to feel any sort of anxiety. I will move into this position to really unlock myself and keep me away from fear. So, part one tonight, 5 signs of too much adrenaline in you. Are you releasing too much of the first flood of stress hormones? They're called catecholamines. I call it a cocktail. So you can remember cocktail. Adrenaline is the chief catecholamine. So that's what we're going to focus on first here. You're releasing a lot of adrenaline. And what does that feel like for you? Everybody's a little different, and it's very situational. You could be overexcited about something, or you could be really anxious about something, or angry about something, or maybe you're even just ashamed. Even annoyance is going to release too much adrenaline. Got a lot of people all cloistered in their homes right now. So annoyance could be a really big emotion that everybody's starting to feel with each other. So you've got to watch out for that one too. So here are some of the signs. Do you have any sleep issues? If you have any sleep issues, it's just your sign that you're triggering too much adrenaline, too much of this first look cocktail hormones here. Any kind of sleep issues. Skin issues, like I mentioned, the eczema, acne, psoriasis, any sort of skin issues. Your skin is your largest organ. So if you're triggering too much adrenaline, it's going to affect your skin. I see a lot of really great athletes who have a lot of skin issues. And it's because they're triggering a heart rate that's too high, also feeling anxious about their races, anxious in general, that can be causing them to have a lot of skin issues. So take a look at your skin. Stomach pain. If you have any sort of digestive issues, if you have ulcers, colitis, if you have problems with diarrhea or constipation, I've had clients who have both. And so anything to do with your digestion, if you have acid reflux, if you have a dry mouth, it's hard for you to swallow because your throat feels closed. So this whole alimentary, all this digestion stuff. If you, a lot of times I have especially young people, but even adults who have so much stomach pain, and your physician says there's nothing technically wrong with you. This is a stress issue. This is how we can help you. So stomach pain is one of the signs. Another sign is that you go hard. See, I thought that's what you did. I've been a super high achiever my whole life. I watched my parents do it too. It's like, work super hard and then Calgon, take me away. I remember my mother saying that. Your quiet time, your resting time at night. Some people self-medicate, you're going to go for alcohol or smoking, anything. You're trying to calm yourself down. So you go super hard and then you hit the wall, and then you wake up the next morning and start it all over again. And sometimes you wake up more fatigued than you did when you went to sleep. So if that's a real sign too that you're triggering too much adrenaline, you go hard, then you hit the wall. The 5th sign I want to share is that you're seeking ways to calm yourself. If you have to seek a way to calm yourself, that's a sure sign that you're triggering too much of these stress hormones. So, so if you're turning to alcohol or stress eating, a lot of my clients, a lot of people I've worked with, will move into the stress eating thing. I noticed a huge change in my life using what I'm going to share with you tonight. Where I used to live, I would run down to the corner store and get grandma cookies. Do you know those cookies? They're like full of nasty stuff, but I had to have those. Like, I didn't have time to make my own, and I make a lot of our own food, most of our own food. I would run down there, and actually, in a way, I think it was because I worked from home. I was like, I wanted to see my corner store people, So what I've noticed is that the more and more that I've used what I'm going to share with you tonight, and what I have in my special courses, is that you don't even think about needing to seek calm. Like, you're already there all day long. So if you're seeking for a way to calm yourself, that means you release these hormones, and that's what's going on with you. That's why you really feel like you need it. So this is a big slide. By the way, if you want this, just private message me. I'll give, this slide to you because it does kind of share a lot of things. There's so many effects of adrenaline. When adrenaline goes out, take a look at some of these effects on this slide here. I'm just going to take my cursor and swirl it here. So many things. In fact, one I didn't talk about was peeing. If you have to pee a lot, if your bladder has a lot of issues, that's a sure sign that you're releasing too much adrenaline. I remember being at a race once and I saw somebody actually use the restroom 5 times before the start went. So that was a sure. I was working with this person, or about to work with them, and so it's interesting to see, just observe what's going on. If you have to go to the bathroom a lot, that's a sure sign that there's a lot of stress going down, or a lot of release of adrenaline. Might not even be stress, might be excitement, too much excitement. So that's the first flood of hormones. We're going to talk about that one specifically tonight, but I also want to mention that there's a second flood because we will talk about that a little bit too. Once your body senses that this threat, this feeling, the reason why you triggered the adrenaline flood is over, these chemicals called glucocorticoids go out. Glucocorticoids are a set of hormones to fix the water, salt, and sugar content of your brain cells and your major muscle cells to get you back to normal. However, they have a whole bunch of side effects, and some of their side effects affect your immune system too. So both of these floods of hormones are going to affect your immune system. So part 2, here's part 2 of what we're doing tonight in this about 40 minutes of training for you. 3 ways adrenaline affects immunity. So when that adrenaline flood goes out, it kicks off this thing called the stress response, the fight or flight stress response. Some people fight, some people flee, and some people feel frozen in place. So if you have any of those feelings, then you're probably triggering these stress hormones. If you feel aggressive, if you're snippy, if you're not quite yourself, if you just want to run and hide, or if you feel so stuck and you can't make decisions, that's a sure sign that you're triggering fight or flight. So here's how it specifically affects your immune system. First of all, adrenaline shuts down your entire digestive system, so your cells can't get the nutrients they need. I want to say that again because I think it's so important. Maybe you're eating really great foods, but those nutrients are not getting out to your cells properly because adrenaline is shutting down this digestive system on you. So that's why your skin might not be so well, doing so well. Other organs, that's why you might have a chronic issue or disease. It's because you can't even get the nutrients you need out to your cells. So I think that's really important because there's a lot of immune activity that goes on in the gut. You hear about probiotics and keeping your gut healthy because there's a lot of immunity that goes on down there. So that's not even you could take all the probiotics in the world, but if you're shutting down your system because you've gone into fight or flight, that's the real key thing that's causing you to not get your nutrients out. Now, this is a big one, but glucocorticoids, that second flood, lower your immune system significantly. I was even doing more, I've done so much research on this really over 30 years now. And it's really interesting to me. I even learned more research today. One of the research studies I followed, it was fascinating. Even if you just held a disagreement with another person, your immune system can drop up to 40%. It's because you're releasing these floods of hormones. And when those glucocorticoids go out, that reduces your immune system quite significantly. Here's some of the things that happen, and I'm not going to get too technical here, but I just want to kind of give you some basics. You have fewer natural killer cells and T cells. So NK cells and T cells, natural killer cells and T cells, they're like 3 different types of those. And when we release these floods of stress hormones, that really reduces the number of those cells in our body. There's another thing called interferon gamma. So your production of interferon gamma is almost completely stopped. This is really huge because interferon gamma it's a cytokine. That's basically a protein. It's a protein that is a huge immune booster. And when that is wiped out, then it's not really able to help all those other cells that are involved in the immune process. So it's really important that you have that working for you. Another thing that's really important is that your body is becoming more acidic with these floods of hormones, and that primes it for cancer, bacteria, and viral growth. Let's take ulcers as a simple example. Years ago, it was said, okay, stress causes ulcers. And then research came out and said, no, it's a bacteria that causes ulcers. So it is a bacteria that causes ulcers, deterioration in the stomach lining. However, the bacteria can't grow if you're not releasing stress hormones. So that's why all of these things that have to do with our body system, what was it, 90% of diseases today are caused by the release of these stress hormones. That was another new research study. So a lot of different research studies, I should have cited them all down here, but bottom line, your immune system is going to drop significantly when you go into fight or flight. And again, you're now what I call the stress cycle. The adrenaline goes out, then a little while later, the glucocorticoids go out. They all have different and very individual effects. So my clients, like one client will say, it gives her instant diarrhea. Another client will say, no, it makes me constipated. Like it's very different. Each one of you, you're so unique. Your situation is so unique. Your stressors are unique. And then how you experience it is very unique too. But bottom line, if we can stop the release of these hormones, things are going to change for you. Here's another secret. What few people know, it takes males up to 9 hours to clear these floods of stress hormones out of your cells and get you back to normal. So a man is compromising his immune system for up to 9 hours every time these hormones go out. But for females, it's up to 24 hours. So in other words, we're compromising the very cells we need to help us, to help protect ourselves, to help keep our immunity high for hours. That's really, really important to know. And it's one of my chief reasons, by the way, to using my method each and every day, all day long, is because if we can keep you free of the stress cycle, your cells are going to work so much better for you. Your immune system is going to work so much better for you. It will be free to do that. So 9 hours and 24 hours is too long. And chances are you will keep triggering the stress response, keeping you constantly at risk. That's how I used to be. I was an adrenaline junkie. I was constantly releasing these hormones. My immune system couldn't even deal with this eczema that I had on my hand, and nothing was working. I'd get sick a lot. I couldn't sleep well. All those things that I put at the beginning. I didn't have a whole lot of stomach issues. That wasn't one of mine because that's not a thing that happens to me. That's why you may be really different. Maybe you're feeling more the throat closing, the heart palpitations. We're all different. So it's time to power up. So now part 3, how to boost your immune system. I love to tell my clients are in my Pressure Free You. It's like, the first session is the one with all the quote unquote bad news. Like, this is what stress does to you. From that point on, we are solving it. I'm all about solutions. So how to boost your immune system. The number one way to boost your immune system is to stop the stress cycle. I'm going to say it again because it's so important. The number one way to boost your immune system is to stop the stress cycle. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Thousands of people I've worked with have done it. So I know you can do it too. I'm going to give you simple steps to get you started tonight and long-term solutions as well. So these simple steps, right tonight, you can start doing this. You can start using this simple method so that your immune system can start to work for you better. So the pressure-free method. I call it the pressure-free method. Kind of a silly name, right? I call it that because no matter what pressures come your way or situations, like the one we're all in now, No matter what pressures come your way, you can stay free of triggering the fight or flight stress response. You can stay free of that adrenaline going out. So then those other hormones, the glucocorticoids, are never going to go out to try and fix the damage of that. So we're stopping stress at its source. That is what the pressure-free method is and does, and that's its promise for you. 3 simple steps: targets, triggers, tools. I was working with someone recently and they said they didn't understand the importance of targets. So I'm going to kind of drill on that tonight. I want you to have real concrete targets. Maybe it's just staying healthy right now in this moment. Maybe it's not being so snippy with your family because everybody's home and you're trying to homeschool, or you're locked in. Like, we have 3 people working from here right now. And so trying not to get in each other's space and be quiet, I've got a call going on, all those kinds of things. So targets are different. I'm going to start with targets. This is your why. And the reasons it's so important is because I think of your why as your fuel. You'll hear that all the time in business. If your why isn't strong enough, you won't do anything. But I think it goes deeper than that. I really think it is this fuel deep inside of you that is your reason why, your aims, your targets. What are you aiming for? Why do you want to live with less stress? Why do you want to be healthier? Why do you want to be able to have, or what are able to do with a healthy body? How exactly do you want to look, live, and why? Like, how do you want your day to go? Do you want to keep everyone in your family healthier? Maybe you can do it for everybody else more than you can do it for yourself. I have some very altruistic clients. And so sometimes it's like they're doing it to protect their family as much as for themselves. So what is your why? Are there some things, like maybe it's your stomach. You just don't want to have that awful feeling in your stomach anymore. You want your immune system to be high during this time, or let me put it this way, not high, functioning correctly. We want to function correctly. You also want to guard your mind from going into those dark places. So what are your targets? If you're taking notes, go ahead and grab your pen and just write down 3 things that are your why. One of my whys is that 24-hour, not for females, 9-hour deal for males. In our family, that is super important. We protect each other because we don't want each other to be in that cycle for that many hours, for a few reasons. One, we love each other, and so we'll help each other so we don't go into the fight or flight stress response. Another is that if a person does go into fight or flight, they're not very nice, usually. They might be all hyper and crazy and very emotional and irrational. So it's like, we just don't want to be that way anymore. So that's one of my big targets. So I hope you've written down a couple of targets, and now we're going to get to the next slide, which are triggers. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road. This is your what. These, how's best? Whenever you feel certain emotions, that's what's going to cause you to release a lot of adrenaline. Does that make sense? Are you following me here? Like, it's really about a feeling that tells your brain, oh no, something's happening, tells your heart rate to rise up and tells you to release that adrenaline. So when do you tend to overreact? Are you overreacting right now? And now we're dealing with a really big thing right now. So you might say, no, I'm not overreacting. I have every right to be feeling this way, or I can rationalize and justify why I feel this way. However, that's not, if you're releasing stress hormones, that's not helping you. You want to stop the stress cycle. So look at the other ways that you might be overreacting. I know I overreacted the other day when I turned the corner in the store and there were no eggs. I don't know. It just kind of, to see all of that bare, it made me sad, but it also made me anxious. So, who or what makes you overreact? Is there something specifically that makes you overreact? Maybe it's a sound or a smell. I cooked salmon tonight. It can be something as small as that. What makes you feel angry or annoyed, annoyed or angry? So that kind of falls in a continuum. You can be, a little bit angry, a little bit angry, a little bit, and then, or a little annoyed, and full blown angry. So what makes you feel annoyed or angry? What do you worry about? So what is keeping you up at night? Could be so many things. Maybe it's the economic issue. Maybe that's the thing that's keeping you up at night. What do you worry about? Who or what makes you feel anxious? Sometimes people make us feel anxious. And then what are you ashamed of? So these are just some questions to get you thinking about the things that are causing you to trigger fight or flight. And so making a little bit of a list is very helpful. Step 3, your tools. This is the how-to of the pressure-free method. So you've got your aim. You want to stay healthy. You've got the triggers mapped out. Okay, I feel a little weird when I go to the store now, whatever those things are. Now your how-to. My tools come in 3 forms: body tools, mind tools, and life design tools. And in Pressure Free You, which is, of course, I'm going to share with you at the end of this, you're going to see how that all plays out. Those tools are in all these kinds of tools are in that program for you. Tonight, I'm just going to give you a couple tools to get you started. And this is the one I love to share the most. It has a great neuroscience behind it, which is why I like to share it up front with you. So I call it the Celebration Ferris Wheel. And I really do want you to celebrate if you start to feel angry, anxious, annoyed, ashamed for anything. If you're starting to feel a little anxiety about the situation that we're all in, this is a perfect time to use it. And I actually want you to celebrate that you saw yourself starting to feel a little tense. So any physical tension or any mental tension, whenever you start to feel any emotion that starts to tighten you a little bit, I want you to take your hands and just push this miniature Ferris wheel right in front of you, right in the air. So you're just pushing up in the air, which is a very silly thing to do, right? Well, first of all, it's a large motion. We don't go around like this a whole lot, right? If you're driving, please use one hand. Do it in the grocery store if you have to. If people will smile probably, and smiling is contagious, and we need to smile more. So Celebration Ferris Wheel is a large motion, because a large motion is one of the few ways you can actually start to retrain your brain at the subconscious level. So a large motion gets your brain saying, oh, what's going down? And you interrupted the fight or flight stress response before the hormones could release from your adrenal glands. That is the secret to pressure free. So large motion, smile. Smile's huge though, because when the corners of your mouth go up, you keep this chemical called dopamine flowing. Dopamine allows you to think, have willpower, make good decisions, and think and remember your hippocampus. So your cortex and hippocampus stay working for you, instead of you going down into that survival brain where you can feel threatened and defensive. Does that make sense? So we want to keep the lights on here. So a smile can help you do that. And then go up with your arms again. So push up. Now leave them here. Okay, keep your ribs where they are. And now put your arms down. And notice how you got into a little higher posture. So that's that idea again of opening the heart and getting up and over your problem so you can solve it. So large motion, smile, posture, 3 tools in one here. It's like a system of tools. In Pressure for You, there's a lot of system of tools. So that's because I know for me, one tool is usually not enough. My habits of reaction are so ingrained that I've had to break them with more than one tool. So this Celebration Ferris Wheel really is a real great way to start interrupting that stress response on 3 different levels: physically, mentally, and then this idea of posture, getting up and over your problem. So this is your starter tool. I want to give you another tool too, because it's like a bonus tool, because I bet you a lot of it's going in your head. A lot is going on. The worries at night, you know, it's hard to turn off. Is it hard to turn those off? So I want to help you with this. I call this flip the switch. Again, see, it's a motion. So pretend there's a light switch on the side of your head and you're going to flip it. Because when we go into fight or flight, we shut dopamine off and our brain goes dark, outer brain. We're in the reptile brain, so we can just react. So we want to keep the lights on. Flip the switch, keep the lights on in your head. You can smile a little bit. Okay, we've got to change the story going on in your head. And this is the fastest way I know to help you do it. Smile. I use this little slogan, caught you. And then ask an empowering question like, how can I, or what can I, or how can we, what can we do to solve this? How can we, um, how can we feel better in this moment? How can we get to solution? How can we make the most of this time together? How can I, what can I? A lot of times we're asking all the wrong questions, like, why is this happening to us? If you ask that question, you're going to get all this negativity pouring into you. When you flip the switch, you're getting into solution mode right away. And you're preventing the release of those hormones because you're turning it into a positive reaction rather than a negative reaction. So play around with questions that can help you flip the switch. And again, do the motion, because that can help your brain retrain out of the loops, the mental loops that you might be in right now. Here are some other things you can do, but ask yourself, what can you do? You can relax your abs. You can take a moment to breathe slowly. We've all heard that, but there's a trick, and I'm going to give you the trick in a moment. You can pet yourself. This is really funny, but you can actually go down the tops of your arms and down your thighs. Don't go back up. I learned this from my body coach, Leela Veronica. She's fantastic, by the way. You should follow her. Go down your arms. We're still planning to do our retreat in June, by the way. Go down your legs. And that's going to instantly self-soothe you. So it's like a dog. You don't want to go up because your nervous system will bristle because the hairs go this way. So go with the direction of your hairs. You can flip the switch on your negative thoughts. This is the flip the switch tool. You can turn off the news, have a media fast, let someone else just tell you in 2 minutes what went on today. It's really only about 2 minutes of news, but they just keep repeating it over and over for you, and we get addicted to it. So see if you can turn it off. That will probably be helpful. And stay pressure free. So again, you're going to notice when you start to get tense. Here's the deal. I knew, take a long breath, that's going to help me with stress. However, I didn't know that I had to catch it in this 10 seconds from my first feeling of tension. So it's too late. I would take my long breath, but my face would still turn red, or I'd get shaky, or I'd just feel like I was a little brain fog. So what you want to do when you start to feel this tension is you have about 10 seconds to prevent the hormone release. That's when you start one of these tools, like relaxing your abs, pushing the Ferris wheel. By the way, you can push a Ferris wheel slowly or quickly. You choose, whatever works for you. So your starter tool, don't forget it. It's going to be the fastest way for you to start to gain some traction here and actually have some breakthrough happening right away for you. And that's to push this Ferris wheel. If you don't like Ferris wheels, just shoot a 3-point shot. Okay, it just goes right through the basket. We could all use a little March Madness right now. So do it in your own home. Just pretend you're shooting a 3-pointer that just goes right through. And the spinning, by the way, the spinning idea is a metaphor for the energy of your life. Every time you prevent adrenaline from going out, you just gave yourself a window of time, quality time for your cells to be healthy, your immune system to be healthy. And if you can start to build those little windows of time throughout your day so that you eventually go an entire day without triggering, then that night when you go to sleep, you will truly be renewing and rejuvenating and refreshing yourself. So when you wake up in the morning, you'll have more energy. I just had a client who's been working with me for a while, and she's in Pressure for You right now. And she texted me and she said, I've slept well every night the last few weeks. And that probably wouldn't have happened if she hadn't learned this method. So that's just like so cool. You want to keep pushing your Ferris wheel, shooting this hoop, and imagining the energy of your life improving. So in this training, you've learned 5 signs of how adrenaline is affecting you, how adrenaline affects your immune system specifically, and then the 3 steps of the pressure-free method. So what's next for you? You can take what you've learned and start applying it. And you can take the next step, learning, integrating, and mastering the pressure-free method. And I can guide you. So I've put together a program called Pressure Free You. This Pressure Free You is daily content delivered right to you for just $97 a month. Normally, the price is $497 a month. But because of what is going on, I wanted to slash the price for you so that you have no barrier to come in and start learning this pressure-free method with me. So let me describe what you get here, but also what the benefits are. So the benefits are really the promise of pressure-free and learning this method is that you get a real handle on the fight or flight stress response. You understand how to break the stress cycle. And as you start to build those little windows of time, you eventually go an entire day. And that usually takes anywhere, well, one person did it in about 2.5 weeks, but usually it's like the 6 to 8 week mark that people actually have that breakthrough. And then we start adding day after day after day. So you start stringing days together when you haven't triggered fight or flight. By the way, the only reason to trigger fight or flight is from a true physical attack, okay? That's why we have this amazing mechanism in our bodies to protect us from a true physical attack. Right now, you need your immune system to be functioning well. You're not being attacked from something physically. So you need to keep that immune system high to protect you from what is going on. So this is daily content delivered right to you. Every day you'll get a daily message from me and some planning pages. And I'll explain to you how to use those planning pages so they can really help you start to craft the life of your dreams. Because once we start helping you live stress-free, then you're going to feel like you have so much opportunity to create more, to do more, to truly craft your life. So I've created pages to help you do that right away and just get you started with the idea that you are in control of your emotions. You are in control of your habits of reaction instead of how you've lived all these years, just reacting to everything around you. So you'll get a daily message from me. And then every week at the bottom of the daily message, you're going to have access to that week's training. It'll come out every single day. It's the same link that'll take you to the same thing. So you can choose your day that you want to do it. Because I know you might not come on here every day. So you can pick the day of the week that you want to come on for sure. Though every day a special message is coming out to you. Why is that? What I've learned with working with clients for the past 10 years is that in order for pressure free to really become a part of their lives, to really master it, we need daily reminder. We need this little daily, even if you just see a message coming from me, it's like this daily reminder. Oh yeah, I'm going to use my tools today. I'm going to stay pressure free. So I built this entire program to help you stay pressure free each and every day. So that's why I have the daily ones and then the weekly training. These courses that you see, let's see, so of course you can use it on your phone. You can do this on your phone, on an iPad, on a computer. It's going to you'll get some worksheets, you'll get some book chapters, and every one of my courses, starting with Optimal Performance, they stream out. Each one of these is about 6 sessions long. So these are going to stream out for you week after week after week, just taking you deeper, helping you master, going through all the different stressors that people experience and that you may be experiencing so that you can truly live a pressure-free life. So you can go to this, let's see, I think my next slide gives you the website. So if you want this $97 a month opportunity, and by the way, for the first 20 people who sign up tonight, I'm going to give you the option to have a free coaching session with me. So that's a huge bonus of $500 to come on a coaching call with me. So first 20 people, $500 coaching call with me, and we can do it right over this Zoom, my private Zoom account. And here is where you can go to jump on Pressure Free You tonight and get started. So it's pressurefreeyou.com is the website that'll take you directly to the checkout page to get that $97 discount. I built a special page just for the discount. So pressure-freeyou.com. And I really, if you're here and you stayed with me to the end of this, I want you to tell you that your time is now. I want you to keep your momentum going from what you learned here. You've got this Ferris wheel, you've got this flip the switch idea, you've got some tools that you can use right away to stop the release of adrenaline in your body. That's the thing that's harming you. That and the glucocorticoids, the two floods of stress hormones. When you can start to get a handle on that, truly, I've seen miracles happen. And you are so deserving of a beautiful life, of a no matter how hard things get right now, you deserve to be okay. You matter. I wrote that the other day in a post. I'm like, I meant it so much. It's like, you matter. Every one of us matters. And we need to help each other. So what you learn here too in Pressure Free You, share it with your family members. Pressure Free is meant to be shared. I want you to help other people learn in fact, when you teach something you learn from me to someone else, you start to master it too. I want your whole family to live pressure free. So pressure-freeyou.com is the fast way to get in here and get started and get working. And again, the first 20 people who come on from this, I'll look tomorrow morning and see who's come in, and you'll get a free coaching session with me too. I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm just going to come out on camera here. I'll stop my share. And let's see. Am I here? It's hard to tell. There I am. I just want to thank you so much for coming on here tonight. It's just such a pleasure for me to share this material because I know it can make a huge difference in your life. I think back to that eczema that I had, and I really didn't realize how much pain I was in every day. I was in pain when I washed my hair. I was in pain when I washed my hands or did the dishes. I just grinned and bared it. Did you do grin and bear things? And I used to clench my teeth. I was like grinding my teeth down, trying to take trying to keep from the pain from hurting me so much. So if you have anything that's causing you mental anguish or physical anguish, Pressure Free has so many tools to help you unlock. So go to pressure-freeyou.com, letter U. I'm glad you were with me tonight, and I'm wishing you a great pressure-free night. Thanks so much for joining.